Hi guys, welcome back to The Next Drive. I'm setting myself a challenge in this video, which is to review the Polestar 2, this car, in 10 minutes and possibly in one take. One slight issue is that I have a wobbly camera back there. It's broken, well the mount's broken, so I won't be using that particular angle. Anyway, let's crack on. There was an edit, so not one take, but who cares? I need to find somewhere to park up, get out and talk about the way this car looks. Let's start with that because this is an EV and EVs, as I've said before, are becoming increasingly tricky to review for reasons I'll explain in a bit. However, this particular car, as with the other Polestar car I reviewed recently, which was the Polestar 3, does a few things really well, and one thing in particular really well that I've never seen any EV do well at all. So we'll get to that later. That's my little way of keeping you hooked. Right, let's get out. What's beeping? There's always beeps with modern cars. Anyway, let's get out and have a look at the Polestar 2. Here it is. It's not an SUV, which is nice because I feel like I'm constantly reviewing SUVs these days. It's a regular car, isn't it? Let's be honest. If you didn't know, Polestar is basically Volvo. Probably shouldn't say. Should I say that? Well, they're owned by Volvo. Volvo is the dad of this brand. I don't know how much input Volvo have in the design of Polestar cars, but it's very Volvo-y, very Volvo-y. Volvo-y. It's just a lot like a Volvo, and that's a good thing. I like Volvos. I think get my finger out the frame. So I'm so sorry about this video. I'd love to know what you think about this car in the comments in terms of the look and the feel of it, the vibe, as the kids say. By the way, whenever you see lights flashing, as they are here, that's just this camera. They don't do that flashy thing. Although, when you open and lock it, one thing very briefly, the Polestar 2 does have a fairly regular key. Lots of cars these days, including the Polestar 3 that I reviewed, have weird keys, big cards and things, which are really annoying. This is fairly regular. Anyway, if I just lock it like this, it does a kind of little dance with the lights, and if I open it, we get another little light signature thing. I like that. In fact, I do like the rear of this car. It's just got this kind of fairly purposeful, meaningful stance from the rear. It's very distinctive, and you see a lot of, I don't know what it is with Warwickshire and Polestar. I think they're based here, but they're fairly close to where I live. There's loads of Polestars around here. Not that keen on the wheels personally. You get a lot of wheels like this kind of design on EVs for some reason. They're a combination of plastic. In fact, are those just plastic trims? It's kind of plastic and alloy. It's a bit weird. We have the Polestar 2 name. They do this with Polestars. They tell you the kilowatt hours and all that stuff. By the way, this is the long-range single motor version, and it is long-range. I'll explain how long-range in a moment. I like the look of this car from here. I think it's quite mean, again, fairly purposeful. Now, in terms of the interior, it's a lovely place to be, actually. I do prefer the interior of the Polestar 2 to the Polestar 3. It does feel like quite a small car. When you're in this, it feels fairly compact, which isn't a bad thing. It makes it feel a little bit more, a bit sportier than the 3, and it's definitely lower. You notice that as soon as you get in this car. I had to really crank up the seat to get it to a driving position I was happy with, but you do sit quite low. The entertainment system, very quickly, I'm not going to go through all this obviously, but the entertainment system is superb. Bezels, huge bezels around here. Massive bezels, which I'm not that keen on, but I do like the fact that Polestar stick with a portrait orientation for their system, and it's very easy to use. Everything you need in here is just a tap away. It's really straightforward. It has Google Maps built into it, which is brilliant. It's got the Google Play Store here as well. It does mean that we lose a lot of functionality here in terms of buttons. We do have obviously play controls here. We do have a proper drive selector, unlike the Polestar 3 that I reviewed that had the kind of American style drive selector here. I much prefer this parking button and that's it basically. This one does have the Bowers & Wilkins sound system, which is utterly superb. Speaker there, speaker over here, speakers up here in the rear. It's got full-on surround sound, and I think even Dolby Atmos as well, which is amazing. These little Bowers & Wilkins things here, I'm not sure what they are. They're not speakers obviously, but trust me, this is it's quite an expensive option. I will come to the pricing in a bit, but it's a very, very good option if you're into your sound. I love Bowers & Wilkins stuff, so very happy to see that. We do get 2 cup holders, one here and one hidden away in there, which is a bit odd, to be honest. I've just realised I'm not going to do this in 10 minutes, am I? But who cares? The seats are incredibly comfortable. I think they look great as well. Really nice. We have a panoramic sunroof in this particular model. Doesn't open, but there you go. All of the interior plastics feel and look fairly premium, to be honest. I'm not too disappointed with anything in here. The only thing I will say, and I had this with the Polestar 3, there are some rattles. This car has done something like 800 miles. It's basically brand new. It is a press car. I always have to caveat this by saying it's a press car, and press cars don't live the best of lives sometimes. I look after them, obviously, but this hasn't done many miles. There's just a couple of rattles here and there, which I'm not keen on. But it is a nice interior. Stowage is fairly limited, so door pockets are quite small. We do have this space down here where you can put whatever you would put down there. I've been putting my glasses case down there. Well, not really storage there at all, because it's got a cup holder in there, hasn't it? Now, in terms of the rear, in fact, very quickly, the boot, which we open here, is a pretty good size. In fact, it's massive, isn't it? It's huge. We put our dog in here for a trip this weekend, and she was fine in there. Rear space. Now, as you can see, and as is always the case with me, I've managed to get my son's child seat in here, no problems whatsoever. This is the first time, however, that I've sat in the back of the Polestar 2. I'm not the tallest guy in the world. I'm about 5'8". Oh, that camera's here. Hello. 5'8", 5'9", possibly, and it's there's not a huge amount of space. My hat is hitting the. Take my hat off. Yeah, my head's hitting the roof there. It does feel compact, this car. Feels, again, very nice, nicely made. All the controls and stuff are good. All the leather's lovely, but it does feel a little bit compact. But that's the kind of car it is. It's not an SUV. It's not a big car, is it? Future me here, I've just realised that I didn't mention the specs or the pricing earlier, so very quickly, as standard, £49,160 for the Polestar 2 long-range single motor. This one, however, does have some options. So it has £900 worth of metallic paint. I don't mind the colour on this. I wouldn't spend 900 quid personally on that colour, but there you go. The other thing that's been added, as mentioned earlier, is the Bowers & Wilkins premium sound system. 1,800 quid. Takes this one up to £51,860. To be fair, you get a lot of stuff as standard, including the Prime pack, whatever that is, the Pilot pack, the Plus pack, the Climate pack, and the privacy glass on the rear window. So yeah, a lot of stuff included as standard, which isn't the case with a lot of other brands. Range. This is the long range version, and I charged it to 100% yesterday morning, or for yesterday morning rather. That gave me 330 miles of range, which is superb. We drove from where we live in Warwickshire to Shropshire to see my family, and we've still got 120 miles in the tank, which ain't bad. That's not bad at all. Performance. Let me just put my foot down on this completely deserted road. There's no one around. It's off-road, not off-road, but trust me, there's no one here. Wait for that squirrel to get out of the way. Come on, Mr. Squirrel, he's gone. Right, let's just go. Ready? Foot down. Quite a lot of wheel spin. It's all right. It's not massively quick, although I mean, that to be fair, that's a bit of a gravel track, hence the lack of traction. But on a proper road, on proper tarmac, it's fine. It really does get you out of trouble. I was at the lights a moment ago and I had to get past a slow-moving learner driver, and I put my foot down safely and legally, obviously, and it was fine. In fact, I'm on a piece of tarmac now. There's no gravel here. This is a lovely piece of dry tarmac. Come to a full stop, foot down. Ooh, yeah, I mean, that felt quick. There was a lot of lag. It took a long time to really pick up and get going, but it's enough. And I said this in my Polestar 3 review, that some EVs are just too quick. They do things way too quickly. And for people who aren't used to having that amount of power underneath their right foot, I think they can be a bit dangerous, to be honest. It's a bit worrying, but it won't frighten you, I don't think. And that's a really important thing. But it's fun to drive, actually. Because of that, it's, you know, it's got the grunt when you need it. It's got the pickup from, let's say, you know, 50 miles an hour. You can put your foot down and get somewhere interesting on motorways and on the back roads. It's fun as well. I'm gonna have to take this camera off. Really annoying me. It must be really annoying you. Apologies. There we go, that's gone. I think because it's so low, well, feels low compared to the Polestar 3 and small and presumably doesn't weigh as much as the Polestar 3, it's a fun car to drive. It's just a little bit stiff at times. So if I now drive off-road a little bit, it's it is a bit stiff, but maybe it's okay. Maybe it's all right. That's a pretty rough bit of road, to be fair. EVs are hard to review. I saw an interview with Jeremy Clarkson recently, and he said that the reason he stopped reviewing cars was because he didn't know what to say about EVs. I understand what he means by that. Far be it from me to, you know, suggest that I know better than the godfather of these types of reviews. That said, I do think they need reviewing, and I think they need reviewing sensibly. And the place that I've got to with EVs is that I think they just have to do a few things well. The range has to be acceptable and make sure that you don't worry about it. The performance, unless you're into real performance, just needs to be quick enough not to be scary, but to get you out of trouble and give you some fun. And then it's the little things, like this, well, it's not little, I suppose, but the system, you know, the in-car entertainment system, the sat-nav and everything has to be easy, really good. And okay, you're going to put stuff into it that we'd normally have buttons for. In fairness, in this car we do get most stalks and things for windscreen wipers, but some cars don't even have that. Anything you do put in there has to be easily accessible, and Polestar have nailed that. It's probably the best in-car entertainment system I've ever used. That said, you will just use Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. And then you get the weird things that you don't know unless you drive an EV and own an EV for any amount of time. This car nails something which has always been a bugbear of mine with EVs, and that is, hold on to your trousers, reversing. If I put this into reverse now, let's pretend my garage is behind me. In any other EV, including our BMW iX1 at home, you kind of back onto the drive like this, and it's getting closer and closer and closer. You let off the accelerator and it stops completely. Then you think, okay, I've got another, probably a yard there, quite a bit of room I can still back into. You put your foot down and it goes like that, and then you just drive into your house, and it's just horrendous. This has the most finessed reversing mechanism, or whatever, or motor, whatever, that I've ever used on an EV. I'm a little bit anal about this sort of stuff, but when I park my car, let me know if you're like this. When I park my car on my drive, it has to be perfectly aligned with the grass on the right hand side and the drive, but also you get the point, which means I have to do very, very minor adjustments just to get it like that, you know, like that. Is that line right? Yeah, perfect. Ease it up to the point that you think is safe to open your boot against the garage. There it is, and it's just so minute. And I know, well, I don't know, but I can guess that Polestar have thought about that. They've spent time on it. They've made sure that reversing this car isn't annoying. That is actually a massive quality of life thing. And it's not just reversing onto your drive, it's reversing into parking spaces at the shops or at work or while doing the nursery run and not embarrassing yourself. EVs are really annoying to reverse. This isn't. If I had the choice between this and a Tesla, the only reason I'd pick the Tesla is because of the charging network, because this still has the slight downside of not having a charging network that is Tesla's. But that's the only reason I'd pick a Tesla over this. Everything else about this particular car is better, I think, than what you get from the Model 3. Get involved in the comments as well, please guys. And if you haven't hit subscribe yet, you know what to do. We've gone past 2,000 subs now. It's amazing. We can't believe how well this channel's going. We can't believe how many people are watching these videos. So thank you if you've done that. Just make sure you hit that button, hit the thumbs up and all that stuff. Get involved in the comments, and well, I'll see you in the next one, whatever one that could be. Who knows? See you then.